Real estate website says a worker must make $115,000 to afford an average home. Redfin, a popular internet real estate site, says the average home in the U.S. can only be afforded by workers making a salary of $115,000 or more. That's a 15 year-over-year increase and the highest annual income on record to buy a home. Just to put things in perspective, $115,000 is the top 18 of all U.S. individual incomes. The article also goes on to say that rental rates have risen sharply in nearly every major U.S. market. The housing market is so unaffordable that buyers need to make nearly $115,000 to afford the average home. 3A2F2F20232F102F182 FAO Bad Housing Market Affordability Redfin 115,000 Salary 2F. I once had an argument, not angry or hostile, with my now former boss. He told me to move closer to work so my commute wasn't so abysmal. Told him that's impossible. I can't afford anything on the market. He wasn't especially forthcoming with any ideas. I rent a trailer in a trailer court here in the Midwest, $585 a month. I pay my own utilities. It's a quiet place. Mostly retirees. I live 5 minutes from my work. 5 minutes from my kids' school. As a single dad, I'm doing okay. I'm also lucky. If I was making what my ex makes, or most entry-level employees make, I'd be drowning. For reference, I make $60–70K a year. Before taxes. Something has to change. I make about $40,000. The job I'm doing isn't easy and it's above the median in the state I live in. I could never fathom making 3x what I'm currently making. The red state I live in is very tight-fisted, and despite record turnover in every business I've worked in, raises and higher wages just aren't a thing. A lot of business still use the federal minimum wage. I gave up on home ownership. Depending where you live, I read that the average house in California costs around $750,000, where states like Mississippi you'd invest around $250,000. But I also read that CA has an average annual income of $75K and Mississippi only $45K. My boss said the tuition reimbursement at our work of $500 a year was an amazing deal. I told them 4 years state school is like $30K. Needless to say, my boss was baffled. LMAO. So out of touch. U.S. resident here. Husband and I have decided that we will be forever renters at this point. Low-income housing in my area for apartments are $2,000 a month. Most places start you at like $19 hour lowballing, which I believe is just over the income limit. For low income, it's bad. But hey, there is a new block of million-dollar homes right on top of each other. And yes, somehow those are being sold. I live in the new most expensive city in the country. Our average rent is $2,500 for a 1 BD means you must make $6,250 gross a month to qualify. Median home price has risen year over year, 11.5 for it. 0.1 million. Median. It's untenable. I literally cannot figure out how 1 PPL are doing it. 2. How we family and friends don't fall into homelessness with one missing paycheck. It's horrible. There is no one I know except for the owner and upper management in my company that can afford to buy a home today. We can barely afford a terrible apartment. This is wrong. I make $115,000 and after 401k, state and federal taxes, and insurance, I net $4,800 a month. A house in my area is $3,100 a month average with a 20 down payment. That leaves $1,700 for bills, food, savings, car, life. So to comfortably fund a 401k, save money, and still have a decent life. It won't work out. $115,000 is still paycheck to paycheck if you try to buy a house today and still be responsible. Rethink Redfin. A popular internet real estate site says that the average salary workers in average jobs should be making is $115,000 or more. Not to gatekeep, but that's cute. In my area, they just had an article that suggests buyers need a $200,000 income to afford a 2-bedroom starter home. It's fucking wild. Just plain sad. Only 18% of the USA population can afford a house. Let that sink in for a moment. Salaries need to increase and housing prices are slowly correcting. We'll never see 2019 prices again. But home prices are coming down slightly. The biggest problem is the current interest rate for a 30 years fixed. It's at a 23-year high. Once that gets down to 4 or below, you definitely won't need $115,000 a year to buy. I'm sure countrywide $115,000 will afford an average house. But in high cost of living areas like Silicon Valley, Miami Metro, NYC Metro and the like, this income may not even get you a fixer-upper starter home. Owning a home without a spouse also making money is basically impossible. What is crazy? I was doing the federal student loan simulator payoff thingy. My husband will probably make $140K this year. We have 4 kids and we are frugal AF, and none of the IDR plans or any for that matter lower my loan payments that I haven't made in 9 years. Oh, and my IDR request from 2012? Still pending. Our mortgage that was $1,300 when we bought 6 years ago has ballooned to $1,700 due to property taxes. If we moved, we'd be paying way more in mortgage payments and not get a similar sized house, etc. We are lucky, but still, it's fucked. In the early 1930s, when America was deep in the Great Depression, acknowledged as the lowest point of the American economy since the Civil War, the median income for men, because misogyny, was $5,000 a year, adjusted for inflation. That number is around $93,000 a year. Current median income for men, apples to apples, is just over $53,000 a year. If the minimum wage had kept up with inflation, it would currently be around $25 an hour. That's $52,000 a year. If you wonder how the world's one got that way, this is how. They stole it from you. If that's the case, minimum wage needs to be $40 an hour. OMG, $100K isn't a lot? Says a boomer that retired in 2010 with a pension and Medicare, or someone that lives in a sundown town in Nebraska. I'm literally never gonna be able to afford a house, or to live alone. I hate it here. Maybe we should start regulating the housing industry to stop corporate property owners from manipulating the market, which there is plenty of evidence that they have been since the '08 housing crash. Me over here being poor. $35,000 a year. Living paycheck to paycheck. The sad thing is, I'm a dishwasher. Yet according to Indeed job postings, I make more than executive administration, HR, payroll, administrative assistant, etc. The jobs I want to get into, I get paid $16 hourly, while those job postings are like $10 to $15. Plus they generally need a bachelor's degree, while my job degree is like high school dropout. I have an associate's degree. It makes me very depressed. Interest rates are so much worse. As well, refinanced my place in 2020 after buying it in 2012. If I sold my place now, took all of that equity and used it to buy my place right back from myself, my monthly payment would nearly double. Something's going to give.